We as creatives are collectively wasting our time. It's not necessarily that we're spending too much time watching Netflix when we should be working, although that might wind up being the case. It's more that we haven't taken the time to scope out and set up systems that set us up for long-term success as well as manage our short-term chaos. My third year in business, I photographed over 50 weddings, and my wife and I had our first child. I became very aware that if I wanted to succeed long-term, I was going to have to push past the chaos and start to set up systems that manage my short-term problems as well as set myself up for long-term success. Specifically, being able to run my business without me being there. After trying 5 other studio management systems, I was hard-pressed to switch again, so I did my research and looked around. The 2 main things I looked for in my new system is 1, I needed to be able to manage my short-term chaos of organizing leads, jobs, and events, but 2, I needed to be able to grow my business long-term with better reporting and more in-depth control so that I was ready for more growth the following year. All that to say, I wound up with Táve. It helps me manage my short term, it helps me grow my long term, and right now I want to walk you through 3 simple steps we can go through together that will get you closer to business peace of mind. As we get started, a few things to note. First off, this webinar is pre-recorded to make sure you get as much information as possible without taking up too much of your day. But don't worry, I'm still here, ready to answer your questions, so if you have any, drop them in the chat as soon as you can. And number 2, a studio manager is a lot like a new employee. You don't want to give it a million things to do on its first day. We're going to start slow and get comfortable over time. So we're going to go through 3 steps to get clients booked today, and we'll dive in from there. Let's jump in. All right, we are in our Táve account here. If you don't have an account with us yet, don't forget you can always sign up for a free trial at Táve.com. For right now, I just want to draw your attention to a few things right here on our dashboard. So our dashboard, this is going to be our overview. We're going to get a good picture of where our business stands at any day on the daily. So I can configure my dashboard right up here, make any changes that I'd like to, or say anything like that. I can hide things, show other widgets and stuff like that. So you can configure your dashboard right here. The other important thing that I want you to see for today is I want to click support right here. And this is going to show you our support center. So you can click a new conversation right here, get in touch with our support staff anytime you need to, reach out right there with a message, or check out our support site down here. So we've got our getting started guides. This is where we'll be going today, but we've also just got this link to our help center right here, as well as our referral program, which is pretty cool. Get a few extra months when you refer people in. So we've got help.táve.com, where you can go right here as well. You don't have to click the link. And today we are going to head to our Getting Started section. So in our Getting Started section, we're going to walk through our Getting Started guide today. And these three right here are going to be breakdowns of the other one, of this kind of checklist right here. So if we look into this checklist, we can see some of the stuff that we have to do. Now, again, important to note that today our main objective is to become comfortable with Táve and get really just used to using this account as we go. So while we go through this, don't worry too much about, hey, am I setting up everything all in one go? We're going to get the basics covered today, and we'll dive into the rest of it after that. So to get started, we've got our main settings in step 1 right here, and we're going to click over and just double check everything. So we're just going to make sure that our email address looks right. We've got our calendar settings set up, have this all matching properly. And then if we have any other things that we want to change, make the temperature match, whatever that is, we're just going to once over this page real quick. Nothing too crazy. If you've got these 2 boxes set, you're pretty much good to go. And once you're ready, we're just going to click Save and Continue. From here, this is our settings page, so you can see all this stuff right here. The next thing we're going to do is just click into Taxes and Currency, and we're going to scroll down here. We're going to make our tax authority, then our individual tax rate, and then we're going to add in our tax groups. This is only if you collect sales tax. So if you don't collect sales tax on the stuff you're doing, you don't have to worry about this, but this is just kind of a prereq to getting the client booked if you do need to have that sales tax option. So as you're going through this, definitely feel free to get this knocked out, but don't feel obligated to put this stuff in here. And if you do have identifier settings or stuff like this, go down here, but if you don't worry about it. This isn't something that everyone will have. Just check in with your accountant if you have any questions. So on our Getting Started guide, we've got our main settings and our taxes and currency knocked out. From here, we're going to head over to client payment methods. This is awesome right here because you're going to be able to add a payment method right here. So you can come on down, add whatever payment method you would like. We accept a ton of different ones. You're going to integrate with them. We just want to make sure you get paid. So pick a payment method, get that set up, and then we're going to move on forward. So at this point, we're going to go through 3 steps. These are the 3 things you've got to do today to get up and running using your Táve account, and I want to walk you through them. The first one is going to be entering a lead. We're going to get that lead into the system, get comfortable doing that, and see the different ways we can do that. Second, we're going to send them a quote, and then third, we're going to email that quote over to them. So starting with a lead right here on our dashboard, we've got this new lead option right here. We're going to have a ton of different job types. We might only have one or two, depends on the way your account's set up to start based on the industry that you chose. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click wedding photography right here, and I'm going to come in and start filling in some basic information. Now, this date right here is the job date. So if I know somebody's getting married, say, I'm going to click, say I know they're getting married December, say they're getting married the 28th. I'm going to put that in right here. I'm not going to worry about too much of this other information right now. This is my master sheet, so I can always come back to this at any other time. I'm just going to double check my source, enter that in, and then I'm going to come down here and start typing in any information I have. With this, if I do start typing, we're going to notice that other people can come up. So if I grab a test client right here that I have in my system, you'll notice that I can pull in those contacts. This is great if you're not doing weddings or if you're working with people that specifically have recurring clients. You're going to be able to grab them a lot easier. Down here, I can enter in the groom's information, and then I can come down here into wedding reception, and I can start to enter any of this stuff as well. So if I'm looking for this, you'll notice this is going to be a Google Maps field, which is awesome because then I can just search for something. I don't have to know the exact address of the venue. And then I'm going to pull in and I'll say, all right, they told me it was a 4:00 ceremony. Great. At this point, I've got everything I need. The biggest thing that I'm going to make sure of is that I've got the main contact's name and the email address, and then I've got some information in terms of the date. I'm not worried about everything else because a lot of this stuff my clients are going to fill out via questionnaire later on. So for right now, I'm going to click Save and Continue. A neat trick that you can think about later on, so everything we just did with that manual data entry, you can totally circumvent that process by embedding a contact form on your website. Very easy to do, and if you have questions with that, you can always message support as well. So definitely get that set up sooner than later. Skip the data entry and save yourself the headache. But for right now, we have entered in our first lead. So I recommend you guys doing this and get familiar with it. That way you know how to get a job inside of Táve. So once this lead is in here, now there's a few different places I can go. If I want to send the client an email, and that's the first thing I want to do, I want to touch base with them, I can click right over here, click Compose Email, and that'll bring me over to my mail, and I can send something on out. We can use templates. We can always edit these templates later on to add some things in. So I'll just say like wedding inquiry follow-up, and then I can reach out to them or whatever that looks like. But for the most part, you just want to get comfortable entering them in as a lead and getting familiar with your overview screen right here. So if I click back to my overview, you'll notice I've got my different tabs I can head to, and I've got my job worksheet, which is that master sheet we just came from. You can edit all of that stuff right here. For right now, after I've sent them an email or I've talked with them on the phone or whatever that looks like, my next priority is going to be getting them booked. Getting them booked is going to bring us onto step 2, which we're going to come to quotes and orders over here. And now we're going to click new quote. And so we're going to get ready to get these clients booked. All right, now I am inside my quote right here. It's going to look a little bare bones, so we're going to go ahead and give it a name. I'm going to say Dave Shea, Wedding Collections. I'm going to come down here, add a message to my clients. And then I'm going to add an expiration. This is just going to make sure that this does eventually expire so people can't come back years later and see the same pricing or anything like that. So I really do recommend throwing an expiration of some form in here, even if it's a super long time. Add that in, and then I've got my sales tax rate that we set up before. If you have any questions on this or you're having issues, don't forget to shoot us a message. But also feel free to throw anything in the chat as you're going. I'll be happy to answer it. And now, with this top section done, with the details knocked out, we're going to come out here and build our quote. If you're headed here for the first time, you might notice that while some products are built in here already, a lot of them that you may need for your business might not be here just because every business is so different. So what you can do is you can add in the products that you find via the drop-down menu here, and then any products that are missing, you can click the manual entry item right here, and we're actually going to set these up as we go. So if I come in and I want to make a new product for something called rush delivery, so anytime I work with a commercial client or something like that, and they might want their images a little bit faster than I normally turn them around, I give them an option for rush delivery on every single quote that I send out. So I'm going to start by naming it right here. So I'm going to name the product rush delivery. I'll give a little description, 2-week turnaround. And I'll add in any other items that I might need to know. So the price, for example, for this rush delivery is $250, and whatever yours is going to be. If I was paying somebody outsourcing this, so I was saying, hey, you know what, it costs me, I charge the client $250, but I'm now having to pay out $120, I could put that there as well. So you can adjust these, whatever that looks like. And then we're going to dive in and we're going to save this as a product. Now, this is an important thing because I'm saving this as a product. I'm going to save this as an add-on right here. And if you need a new category, you can always click new and add one on. But the reason I'm going to save these as a product going forward is the next time I come in and make a quote, I don't want to have to go through this whole process all over again. You want to make products and start to build these templates out as you go. So as you're moving throughout your account, any chance you have to set up a template, you're going to want to take it. So I'm going to put this in right here. And at this point, this is a pretty simple quote right here. I'm going to add in an engagement session just to make it a little bit more complete as to what it would look like. Drag that up right here. And at this point, this is going to be a basic collection that I would send over. If I wanted to turn this into a package, I could do that as well. But I'm going to send over a base quote for right now. And what I want to do is I want to focus right here. So as it stands, all of these items are required. So the client can't make any changes or anything like that. And what I mean by required is the client's going to be required right here. What I can do is I can click down to this second photographer right here, and I can make this a suggested item. What that's going to do is that's going to give the client the option to remove it if they'd like to affect the price of the product, the whole collection that they're booking. And I'm going to do the same thing with the engagement session right here. And then down here in the rush delivery, I'm going to make that optional. What that's going to do is it's going to put it a little bit below and give them the option to add it on. So you have a lot of control in how you're presenting your quotes to your clients. So for example, like I use Shootproof for my gallery delivery and they're amazing and I love them. But in addition to having them set up for my gallery delivery, I also offer additional years to my clients so that they can have their gallery up for more than 1 year. That would make a great optional item to put at the bottom of your quote to be like, hey, I'll host them for the first year, but if you want to have your images up for even longer than that, you can buy that right now at the checkout. So you can do a lot of that stuff right here. With our quote configured, we're now going to move down to the booking process right here, and this is going to be pretty straightforward. We've got our wedding retainer payment schedule, which if I edit right here, I can see that I've got a $1,500 balance retainer right here, and the 100% of the balance is going to do 30 days before. So I'm going to change this, make that match. And then I'm going to save and close. Questionnaire right here. I'll walk through this as we go, but the questionnaire is going to be a wedding intake questionnaire, and my contract is going to be my wedding contract header. You can customize this. So if you haven't built out a contract just yet, if you click edit right here, you can always create a new one, drop that in, and then you can click update template right here. So you can drop all this stuff in. And just copy and paste yours below. The way contracts work inside of Táve, and this is a little bit of an aside, contracts collect information beforehand. So the contract is going to be the actual information once it's ready to go. The questionnaire that we've got right here, the wedding intake questionnaire, that's going to be like the top section of a contract that you'd sign at like a gym or something like that. So we're going to take in the information first and then write it on the contract for you. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like here in a minute. So at this point, we have built out our quote. So take a second, look over everything, and just make sure that everything looks correct. Before we leave this page, this is super important. To make sure that we don't have to go through this whole process again, we're going to click Copy to Quote Templates here on the right-hand side. And with this click and Copy to Quote Templates, it's going to save it as a template. You can always open this in a new tab if you want to do it later. And now that we've done that, we're going to click Save and Continue right here. So now we're on our overview screen again, this time for the quotes and orders, and we've got our quote right here. Few different things we can do from this point on forward. I want to take a look over our quote. If we want to preview exactly what our client sees, we're going to click direct link right here, and this is where we're going to walk through it. So at this point, we've got step 2 knocked out. We're going to go over emailing that quote in a few minutes here, but I want to walk you through exactly what your clients are going to see. So right now, I've got my header image up top right here. This will say just your business name on it. If you haven't set up anything yet, we've got a super quick tutorial that you can knock out in branding. And it's really easy to just create an image, upload it, and get it knocked out. Now, I've got my products here. So I've got my 10 hours of coverage. We can see my message right above it. I've got my second photographer and my engagement session. These are going to be those suggested items. So I can have them be removed if they'd like to. I can click remove down here, and then they can add on any of those optional items they'd like to. You'll notice, obviously, sales tax, everything will automatically adjust. You don't have to do anything. This is all going to be automated. So your bookings for your clients are going to get so much easier than they are right now. So we'll click continue. We'll see the payment schedule is going to break down what's due. And then we're going to be brought to the questionnaire. I try to keep my intake questionnaire as simple as possible. You don't want your clients having to fill out a ton of information right off the bat. So definitely keep things a little bit as easy as you can. I'll go through and fill out anything that I can. And then I'm going to say, search for any of this stuff that I might have missed. We'll notice that a lot of this stuff is going to be filled out. The reason for that is going to be that because I already entered this on the back side of things, my client isn't going to have to enter this again. So it's really nice that all the parts of Táve still speak to each other. So all of this information is filled out. I'm going to click send and continue. With this information filled out, the nice part about this is it's going to drop them over here. So I've got this wedding contract right here. All the information that they have entered is going to be dropped right on here automatically via token. So you can always set this up. This right here is going to be tokens for the names and their addresses. Down here, I'm going to have a token for the book to order summary, which is going to be included in most of our default templates, so you don't have to set this up from scratch. And then right here, where it says add your contract below, obviously that's where you would paste your contract in. So then I'm going to click right here, sign, and as soon as this is electronically signed, they'll be brought right over to the payment screen where they can make a payment right here. At this point, we have entered a lead, we have created a quote, and we've previewed what it's going to look like from our client's experience. So now we can go and send this over. So we're going to head back to our tab right here where we've got our quote open. We're going to click over to email right here. And we're going to be brought to a template that you can always change going forward, but for right now, it's going to do the job. I do want to bring your attention to one thing on this particular page. So right here, we've got this item name link token, and a token is just a placeholder for information that's going to get sent out. It's great for making out templates. But this item name link token is a particularly special one because what it's going to do is this is going to be the link that your clients click on to get to their quote. So if I click preview in the top right-hand corner right here, this is going to show me that item name link comes the name of our quote and a link out to that collection. So you can modify everything you'd like to in this email, but when you do go to send it, just make sure you still include that one. At that point, that is pretty much it. Once I've got this email looking the way I want it to, I'm going to close out of here, click send, and I'm going to get ready to use my account, get all sorts of clients booked, and be on my way. A few things I do want to reiterate here as we kind of wrap things up to the webinar. We've got our getting started guide right here. Again, this goes through everything we just talked about. So if you're struggling at all, you're trying to figure out anything, tap back to help.táve.com. Click getting started right here and walk through this. Once you feel like you've got a handle on this, there's a lot of other stuff right here. We've got the template gallery, which is going to add some stuff in, as well as adding in some custom fields, creating contracts, and all of these resources right here. If at any point you find yourself stuck or struggling, or you just need a little bit of extra hand holding, don't hesitate to hit support and shoot us a message and let us know how we can help. I'll hang out here in the chat for a few minutes responding to any other questions. So if you've got anything or you're looking to say, hey, how does this work for my business? Throw it in the chat. Let us know what we can do, and we will get you guys all set. Thanks so much for joining part of Team Táve, and we're excited to have you guys on board. We'll see you soon.